In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Come, Holy Spirit, and help us deepen our faith. Help us know better Jesus and love Jesus more. Hail Mary, full of grace.
The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to people who are here for the first time. And today's talk is on Our Lady, but more specifically on the Immaculate Conception, since we celebrate today the Immaculate Conception of Our Lady. It has been moved. Normally it's the 8th of December, but because the 8th of December is one of the Sundays of Advent, and the Sunday of Advent cannot be changed or moved, and it has the priority, so the Feast of Our Lady has been moved to either the following or the previous, but in our case this year was the following day, which is the 9th of December. So we celebrate today the Immaculate Conception of Our Lady. Happy feast again, everybody. As you remember, for whoever was here at lesson number 3, the relationship between dogma and spiritual life, the truth, the Christian truth, and spiritual life. You remember I tried to show that each truth, each dogma that is part of our faith has a spiritual use, I would say. So it's not just that we have to believe what we believe in, or the God in whom we believe. In a way, has a use, in the sense, everything in God, the second person of the Trinity became incarnate. It means that God is not separated or alien to our reality. His being is love, everything is Him, in Him is love. So this means that anything that happens in our life is of utmost interest for Him. So, therefore, if His own being is directly related to our life, and this is shown in the incarnation, the second person of the Trinity takes flesh, becomes closer to us, to the point that on the cross He is united to each one of us. So closer than that we don't have. So this means that anything that is essential for our faith as Christians, in anything in which or in whom we believe, has a direct, or should have a direct impact on our daily life. Of course, said like that looks a bit new or different or odd. Like, for instance, today we are speaking about the Immaculate Conception of Our Lady, and this is considered by the Catholic Church, at least from more than 150 years, as a dogma, officially, as a dogma. So this would mean that if any dogma has a direct impact on our daily life, this would mean that the Immaculate Conception of Our Lady, this truth in which we believe, has a direct impact on our life. How surprising. How surprising. Would I tomorrow, hopefully, wake up a different person, having a different perception, being more happier, because Mary is Immaculate Conception? Would I, in my prayer life, start to feel the difference in my spiritual life, the difference that my new understanding of the Immaculate Conception. You see, this is the goal of this lecture. No? It's to sort of become aware that there is a relationship, and mostly to see it. Because if you don't see the relationship between the Immaculate Conception and your life, not the life of the Church or the past or the future or the Pope or whatever, no, your life, not your parish, your life first, then of course obviously the parish, because you impact on your parish. So if you don't see the difference, what's the point? Why bothering? Just believing, and then what? You see? So this is I think just setting the small foundations for what we are about to see. So obviously the starting point is, I would say, in the opposite direction, which is we do not see the direct relationship between the Immaculate Conception and our daily life. Do you see the direct relationship between the Immaculate Conception, the need to believe that Mary is Immaculate, and your personal spiritual life? Be sincere, do not lie. Do you see, or is it lived as, okay, we believe in what the Church believes, which is, I think, the sign of not only goodwill, but the action of the grace of God in you. But does it make a difference when you wake up in the morning if Mary is Immaculate or not? Of course, you have nothing against her. Hopefully, you want to accept and to receive all what is taught about her. We understand that. We agree, hopefully, on that. But it's not the question. My question is, do you see the link? Do you see the relationship? Does it make a difference? Do you wake up differently? Do you pray then differently? You see, I personally, I'm tortured by the fact that Mary is Immaculate Conception, because I years now, it's 30 years now, getting old. So with experience, you start to see it. It doesn't appear immediately. So with experience, with research, with an effort, I start to see the difference. And the difference is so sharp that it makes me, like, as I said, tortured, but in a positive way. Okay. So, now, do you see the difference? And don't feel if you say no. It's an honest answer. If you say yes, but I would like to see what you see. I mean, I would like to perceive what you perceive, because would be interesting. So my first question is, do you see the connection, the direct connection between believing in the Immaculate Conception on one hand, and the other hand, or maybe on one hand, and on the other hand, which she's here. So on the other hand, my daily life, my spiritual life, my Christian life. Full stop. So,
I will say the John Paul II prayer, Immaculate Conception, Mary, my mother, live in me, act in me. That's all he used to say every day.
Yeah, but do you see the difference? Mary is pure. Mary is the mother of Jesus. We in general agree on that. But the Immaculate Conception is very technical as well. You know, there are some people who even don't understand what is the contents. Just a moment. So it's not about saying a prayer that X and Y was saying it, but do you see what difference it makes in your life?
Yeah, because we're asked in that prayer. It says, "Make Immaculate Conception, Mary, live in me, act in me, speak in and through me," and that's what I want to do every day. Yeah, but she can be immaculate, but the question is she Immaculate Conception? That's a prayer, Immaculate Conception. Because your prayer would work as well. Are you following? Step by step we are entering now in the mystery. The Immaculate Conception doesn't say that Mary is pure or immaculate. It says much more than that. It says that Mary is pure from the first instant of the creation of her soul and body. And soul, spirit and body. Always remember that every day. Say again? It's not about remembering at all. This is my point. It's not an intellectual issue. It's a perception, inner perception issue. And it's not, again, the perception of an intellectual notion at all. It's good. I mean, we are starting. I think there is somebody...
I was just going to clarify. Immaculate Conception means that she, Our Lady, Blessed Mother, was conceived without sin. And I think that must give her... somewhere in one of the litanies it speaks about it as a pure crystal. Is it a pure...
No. Just a moment. Again, I would like to clarify.
It's not intellectual.
No. The notion. What you just said. You said it means this. I need to clarify. The Immaculate Conception doesn't say that only that Mary is pure. We all agree that Mary is pure. I mean, many even churches, like the Orthodox churches, do agree that Mary is pure. But where we disagree is on when this purity started. Are you with me? And you see, so it's from the moment of her conception, which is very difficult in general for us humans to understand it and see it. You see, why would she have this privilege and the rest of us are just born under the original sin or the consequences of the original sin? So we are saying she doesn't fall under the original sin. She comes from a different box. Like we are all taken from a box and she's taken from another box. Even though today people would say, well, Mary is a woman like us, etc. Well, like us, yeah, maybe. But she's coming from a different box, even though she's a human being. But the dogma is difficult. The dogma is annoying. The dogma says she comes from another box. You see what I mean? So it's seriously annoying. I mean, if you mention this to a Protestant or a Church of England person or whatever, it's really annoying because it doesn't enter. Why? We are all the same. You see? So we are not discussing her purity. We are saying when the purity started. Okay? Shall we agree on that? You wanted to say something?
I want to say something different. I just wanted to say because she was going to participate in God's plan.
So can you shout because people need to hear you?
Because she was going to she participated in God's plan of salvation.
Plan of redemption.
Plan of redemption.
Yeah, you are trying now to see the reasons, but I'm not discussing the reasons now. I'm just starting.
Because she is, and she always will be. She was in the mind of God long before conception.
Yeah, but we were all in the mind of God as well. I'm playing the devil advocate. So we are all thought by God from eternity, thought pure. You can check because it's not my words. St. Paul, in the beginning of letters to the Ephesians and to, I think, the Colossians, he says that. But of course, the plan involves the freedom of the human being, and then our freedom was used in a wrong way. So we are just bearing the consequences of inheriting the consequences of that, which is not the case of Our Lady. So why her and not us? I'm still playing the devil advocate in order to sort of show you how it's not easy, and then step by step land into more concrete land. Okay? So you are trying to find the reasons why God would do that. I'm not discussing them, and what you say is certainly valid, and we can add to it. Okay? But just I want to start to show that when the Church says Mary is Immaculate Conception, the Church is saying something that is difficult. I'm not sure it's working, so I don't know what to do, but usually I'm sweating and remove everything, but it's not the case, so I don't know what you're doing. I won't have a problem because I will start to move now. I've got to start heating, but you will have a problem. So, well, shut the door. We'll keep our heat. There is one point I would like to mention as the second point. The first point, you see, I was addressing the question of the relationship that exists between each dogma and our spiritual life, and this is what we will see. The second point I would like to mention is does the Immaculate Conception appear immediately in our spiritual life or in the Apostles as well? I'm starting to sort of sow a seed here. The Apostles' spiritual life, is it something that appears immediately in our life, or as Christians, as Catholics, or is it something that you learn much later while you're deepening your faith, etc.? I'd like you to think of yourself, of maybe other people, and start step by step to think as well of the Apostles. What did they ever discover that Mary is immaculate, and if so, when? So first yourself. So 3 questions in one. The first is, does it appear immediately, this question? Is it the core? For instance, in the history of the Church, did we immediately recognize Mary as Immaculate Conception?
No.
Was it obvious to the majority of I would say, the faithful throughout history? Was it obvious that Mary was Immaculate Conception as we understand it today?
Because what I think is the Holy Spirit reveals it to a person, a very special grace.
No.
I think my name is
No, because when we declare a dogma, we do not pretend, we do not claim, we do not claim that this is something revealed or new.
I think my name is Gabriel.
Say again?
My name is Gabriel.
Yeah, but I'm asking, the Church, is the Church aware from the beginning that Mary is Immaculate Conception? The Church, history, think of the saints, think of people who lived throughout 20 centuries, were they all aware that Mary was Immaculate Conception, as we understand it today? Pure, yes, she was understood to be pure. Yes, this is always understood. But the question is she perceived as Immaculate Conception? When was the dogma declared? No, you're going too fast. It's not about revelation here at all. It's the church. The church doesn't work with revelations. We already received now, I need to clarify this. The revelation happened and finished with the death of the last apostles. The church will never accept anything new after the death of the last apostle. So we consider that everything has been given. This is theology. This is, serious theology. The church never accepts anything, any truth that would be revealed after the death of the last apostle. In other words, you can find it in the Catechism. I'm not saying something from my own. So the church says God will never. So this is very interesting because this challenges any other religion that comes after Christianity. God will never reveal anything new after the death of the last apostle. Why? Because he gave everything. And he gave everything in Jesus, in the person of Jesus. Okay? Are you with me? So, the church, when the church says something, the church never claims to invent something new. Even in the case of the Immaculate Conception, the Pope never said, I woke up this morning, I found that's a nice thing to say, and I'm declaring Mary Immaculate. Everybody has to obey and bow. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It will never work like that. He doesn't have that power. He doesn't have the power of inventing something new. He is serving what has been given and closed at the death of the last apostle. So, even if that's the case, strangely, in the case of the Immaculate Conception, it took time for us not to have a revelation, but to understand and to become aware, as a whole, as a church, not individuals, of something. Are you with me? Do you see the difference? It took us time to understand. It doesn't mean that it wasn't given. As you said, what was I saying? Yeah, and when the angel appears to Mary, he says, full of grace. Okay, you could see full of grace in a certain way, fair enough. A Protestant would see full of grace in another way, and a Church of England in another way, an Orthodox in another way, and somebody who's not Christian in another way. Are you with me? Okay. It was said, full of grace, but it took us time to understand it. It's not revealed. It's just going from the implicit to the explicit. There are plenty of things that are implicit. They are said, but I would say in a gentle way. Okay? It's not every time when we enter in the church that somebody is standing at the door saying, do you really believe in Jesus? Do you really believe in the Father? Do you really believe? Okay, you can come in. It is implicit that whoever wants to worship believes in all this. Okay? So this is the notion of implicit. Plenty of things are in the Bible, but they are not said clearly. I mean, Jesus didn't come and landed like that and said, okay, I am God, please, I would like you to worship me. He didn't say it this way. Okay? But when you read carefully the Gospel, you discover that he is really God, and there are moments when they ask him and he replies, and he says yes. And they want to stone him. Okay? So, you see what is implicit and what is explicit. So, the Immaculate Conception and many other things like the Trinity, the Incarnation, and all what we say now are implicitly present from the beginning, but it takes us time sometimes to become aware of a notion
with greater clarity. But when we say I understand it better now, I'm not saying I'm the first one to get it, and the people before me didn't have that thing at all. You see what I mean? So it's not something new. The notion of revealed here is not bringing something new. It's just understanding something that from the beginning is there. Okay? But I didn't see it. Like I'll give you an example. Some people are Christians, but maybe only by baptism, but they are very far from God, and then suddenly one day they change. Suddenly they start to pray, they start to read the Bible, their lives completely change. They are touched by Jesus, who enter in a new way, in a different way, their life. Okay? So they were Christian before, but now the perception is different. When they start this journey, what happens to them is that they think they are doing everything. They think that when they decide to pray, they pray. And when they pray, they pray. It's them who are praying. And then it takes some bit of time. And then after a year or two, with some hurdles or trials, etc., they start to become aware that God is in fact the first one, not them. It took them time. In the beginning, all fervor, all excitement, all action, all initiative, but they're not aware that in fact there's God from inside is pushing. But then God sometimes then will remove his hands and say, well, show me now what we can do. Oh, not a great deal. Not a great deal. You see? So who called who? Did you call me or I called you? So calm down and follow. You see? But this takes 1 year, 2 years, whatever. You see what I mean? This is what? This is becoming aware after a while that in fact God was the first. And I am the second, and not the opposite. You see? This is just an example to show you how it is there in the beginning, but I'm not aware of it. I'm just full power on just doing things, just moving things. Okay? Clear? Now, let us try to enter deeper in the life of the apostles, as it is told in the New Testament. So let us take Peter or John or James or whoever and sort of like read the gospel, not searching for Jesus, but searching for what did they do when they followed him. What happened to them? Because this is the story. When you witness, you say what? This happened to me. If I come and say to you, the year, I don't know, 19 or whatever, this happened to me. So, and the Lord did that to me, etc. So you are listening to my story and what God did to me. It could be interesting for you because you could say maybe, oh, that's interesting. Oh, please, God, can I as well have this? I mean, why he has it and I don't have it? So you would like to sort of emulate or try to understand, okay? So, what interests us now, it's not first Jesus, but the impact of Jesus on them. Do they have difficulty in following him? This is my question. So now we are. It's not working today, friend. I don't buy that. It's not your fault, but it's some fuse or some. So now. This is the gospel timeline. Something starts here. Jesus calls Matthew. Jesus calls John. Jesus calls Peter. And then they start to follow him. You see? Follow him. So now the question, when we read the Gospel, is it that obvious, that spontaneous, that's easy? You see, all this I'm trying to understand the Immaculate Conception, and you will see it, but I'm taking it from a different angle. You will never hear a talk on the Immaculate Conception in this way, because this is like changing almost the religion. No? So, they are following Jesus. Do they have difficulties? Are they struggling? Can you name to us, me to us, some difficulties? Let us say first third, second third, not after, because after they are clearer, but before.
Peter.
Yeah, Peter. What happens to Peter? Then tell me, please.
Or when he says, when Jesus says, "Get behind me, Satan," you know.
Okay. So we are here remembering Peter at Matthew 16. So we are really at a very important junction in the Gospel. Well, I would say in the middle of the Gospel. If you consider the distance between the cross, the Passion, before the Passion, like just here, bit before, and the beginning of the call, right in the middle, but not in the middle as time, but the middle in the sense, the symbolic way. It's like there are some experiences here and then other experiences here. So we are reaching like a peak, if you want. Okay, so we are. Remember this passage, Matthew 16. Jesus says to the apostles that are following him, he says, "Who do you think I am?" So the reply is, some of them also say, some say you are a prophet, some others say you are Elijah, some others say you are a Baptist. And then Jesus says, "Who do you think I am?" And then Peter, in the name of everybody, has a sort of a revelation or inspiration. He says, "You are the Son of God, the Messiah, the Son of God." Then, surprisingly, Jesus says, "Okay, from now on, I'm telling you that I will suffer, I will be treated very badly by the authorities, the religious authorities. I will be put to death, and I will rise." Peter's reaction is, "No, never. God forbid." Why?
Because he's human.
He's human, okay?
He's relying on his own power.
He's relying on his own power, correct? What else?
He didn't believe that right.
He was not fully transparent.
He didn't understand. What he didn't understand? What?
Understand why you need to suffer and die.
Yeah, he didn't understand why he needed to suffer and die. That's a good point. What else he didn't understand? This is a very good point, but what else he didn't understand?
That Jesus was God.
That Jesus came to save.
Yes, it's related, but what else? Because there is something he didn't mention in what he didn't understand.
That was the purpose of his life.
Yes, we are saying the same thing, but there is a point, there is a word or a verb in Jesus' sentence that doesn't enter.
He was going to
Die
rise
and rise again.
He was going to rise again.
Rise again. To rise is new. The Jews did believe in the resurrection, but it's the end. In the end of when everything will finish, like what we believe is the final resurrection of the bodies, like we say it in the creed, no? In the end, everybody will rise. But that somebody will die and rise, this is new. Even though Elijah did rise people, Jesus himself did rise people, but even though they had all this, the notion of resurrection, it doesn't enter really. So what would be then we are in him. You see, we are in Peter. We're following Peter, not Jesus. Peter following Jesus, but Peter. What is his reasoning then? Imagine Jesus, you are Peter, and Jesus, you followed Jesus for at least 2.5 years, at least. This is happening, I think. And Jesus says to you, look, it won't continue like that. Remember, he called you one day. You started to follow him. You created a group. You are following him wherever he goes. It's not like, okay, I go back home and you go. No, I'm with you. I left everything. He left his work, his job. He doesn't have any job anymore. He saw miracles. He heard Jesus preaching at length. Healings. For 2.5 years. Do you understand how mind-blowing what he's going through is? But still, so you understand as well how much Jesus means to him. What Jesus means to him. It's everything. He's everything. I mean, imagine you meet somebody who is capable of just multiplying bread, of stopping the wind, of being God finally in the end, you know? And you're having. It's like he's your treasure. He's everything for you. And this being is saying to you, I'm going. Do you feel the problem? It's like now, imagine you have your faith, and suddenly Jesus says, I will take this faith from you. What would you do? You would die, I mean, to a degree. You would do like, it's emptiness, no? It's like, your entrails are taken. It's like you can't breathe. You can't be. Are you with me? He left everything. He doesn't have a job. This is the Messiah. He saw wonders in front of him. And in the end he says, Peter, I'm going. Never. What's going? This is not in my dictionary. This word doesn't exist in my dictionary. Going? Jesus going? No. The Messiah going? No. We want you to be the king. We are preparing a throne for you. You will deliver us from the Romans. No, Peter, I'm going. You understand the problem here? We are born with the notion of resurrection. We are born with knowing what is the end of the story. But Peter doesn't know the end of the story at this junction. And we will go through the same experience as well one day, or if maybe we already have gone through it. Okay? So you understand the reaction. You say it's human. Absolutely, he is human. As St. Paul says, you have the old man or the old creature or the old woman in us, and the new man. But it's not because we are Christians that we are following Jesus with the new man or the new woman. Are you with me? Yes. Do you see this point? Christian life has two aspects. One is your motivation, your goal, God, Jesus, and one is the means. My means can be human, as you are now explaining it yourself. And the means can be divine. Are you with me? Yeah. You see? So you have, if I draw a table here, this is the goal. Sorry, this is the goal, and this is the means. Are you with me? We have three possible choices in life. You see them. How do you fill this table? The goal could be God, or could be Jesus, or could be anything else. So somebody who is maybe just baptized, but living his own life, God is not the center of his life. So he's living an earthly life. His goals are certainly good, but they're not following Jesus. Do you understand the difference? I'm not saying he's a bad person, but I'm saying he's not focused, he didn't hear the call, so it's a different thing. Okay? So you have earthly goals, plans. And the means you are using are human, obviously. Now, what are the two other columns here? The goal will become Jesus. Are you following me? The goal remains Jesus here. But what is new is that the means here, following Jesus in the beginning, is what? Divine or human? Peter. When Peter replies to Jesus, "No, never, you won't go." Who is replying to him? The human, the low human, the old man in him. You see? Like St. Paul says, we need to forget about the old man and have the behavior of the new man. Okay? So Peter here is still human. And maybe this is a big discovery for you. That it's not enough to follow Jesus. I need to question the way I'm following Jesus. And the way could be human or divine. You may put Immaculate. I didn't say conception, I said Immaculate. Immaculate means pure. Do we agree on that? God says we need to be pure. We need to be immaculate. He didn't say, "I want you to be Immaculate Conception," but he said, "I want you to be pure." Blessed the pure of heart, because they will see God. Okay? So, we have three possibilities. This is following Jesus, but the first stage of following Jesus, and this is the second stage of following Jesus. Name it as you want. And this one, the first one, is the earthly. The goal is earthly, goal and means. The earthly and one human. So the revelation, I guess, for you today, or clarification, maybe it would be better, for you today is what? It's to notice the existence of this column. That I can follow Jesus, but my heart can be still not immaculate. Still old. For new wine, we need new skins. So here, Jesus is the wine. But here we have an old skin. We never thought that it could be possible to have an old skin trying to follow the new wine, or trying to be filled by the new wine. And it fails, as Jesus said. It fails. It will break. And it breaks. Peter will reach a point where he will break. Are you? One of the early moments, or a central moment, where we start to see that he will break is Matthew 16, when Jesus says, "Oh, go away. Your thoughts are not God's thoughts. Your thoughts come from the devil." But he could have said, "You are still very human, Peter. And in order to follow me, you can't use your own bicycle. You need to use something that is immaculate. Faster, purer. So, you don't need only the new wine, Peter. You need as well the new skin. I need to give you the new skin. I need to remove the heart of stone and bring you a heart of flesh." Are you with me?
Yes.
But this is central to Christianity. Are you aware of that? We are starting to see the mystery of the Immaculate Conception not as a remote notion, but as something that step by step we will be going through. Following Peter, we are like Peter. We will never be better than Peter and John. So don't tire yourself trying to be better than Peter and John. We will all fail. When you open the Gospel, these are 4 stories. First story told by Matthew,
second story told by Mark, third by Luke, fourth by John. The four of them are stories of their own failure. And this beginning of failure starts in Matthew 16. But it's a normal failure. It is a normal failure. Why? It's just a revelation that the old skin can't do it, can't make it, with the new wine. But it takes us a lot to reach that humility. It took Peter a lot to reach the humility and the newness, the new skin, in order to say, okay, yeah, I know. I couldn't follow you. Peter is almost fighting Jesus at the Last Supper. You could read it in St. John. John chapter, start reading from 13 to 16 before sleeping today, if you want, and just focus on Peter. Forget the others. Forget John, forget Judah, forget Jesus. Just focus on Peter. And what Peter will be saying. Jesus said, where I'm going now, you can't come. It's like he's crucifying him. I mean, I left everything for you. I'm following you from 3 years now, because we are at the Last Supper, 3 years and a half. I'm following you, I left everything, and now you say, I can't follow you. I mean, where are you going? Death doesn't enter in their mind. Resurrection is a completely alien concept. Even we are born with the notion of, a rough notion of resurrection. So we sort of say, yeah, and before Easter we are already preparing the eggs of Easter and buying them. But that wasn't the case at that time. Easter was hell for them. It was losing your treasure completely and forever. You see? So the skin, the old skin, is experiencing its own limits. In radical, this is why I said the mystery is torturing me. The radical incapacity to cross the abyss between his death and his resurrection. Okay? So there are many other obstacles. I can't just continue forever with this because you can search it yourself. I invite you to read the Gospel, but not reading it with being too kind and closing your eyes over the weaknesses. No, look at the weaknesses of the apostles because they tell your story. They tell your own story. You won't be better than them. So just it's an image, it's a mirror of my own story. Okay, but read and see the difficulties. For instance, I'll give you an example in John chapter 6. John chapter 6. Jesus has it's a very long chapter, and Jesus speaks about the bread of life. He will give his flesh, he will give his blood, etc. I mean, you understand, a man who says to you, I will give you my flesh. He doesn't say body in this text, chapter 6. I'll give you my flesh and I'll give you my blood. You say, come on, it's too much now. Okay, you are the Messiah, you are this, you are that, but don't go there. What are you trying to say? You see, when you read carefully chapter 6, it says what? There are people who stopped from following because they found that his language, which means what he's saying, is too much. So the gospel is telling you that there are stages, there are difficulties, and the difficulties are growing. The closer we get to the passion, it's becoming more and more difficult for a normal human being to follow Jesus. Are you with me? Okay. So you may read the gospel in this way and notice the different hurdles, the different difficulties and struggles they have to follow. Like even for the transfiguration. They just had an amazing experience that we can't fathom. And while coming down after the transfiguration, Jesus says the following. He says, please do not tell anybody about this until the Son of Man will rise again. And the text says, and they couldn't understand what rise again meant.
It's like you're asking me to do something, to keep a secret, without even understanding the full sentence. Like, could you please keep this code that I'm giving you secret? Code of what? But just keep it secret. But the code of what? You see? You see what I mean? So it's like we need to see these things and not have a blind eye or close our eyes and say, well, no, it's fine, it will be fine. They're just telling this, but it's not true. No, it's true. They couldn't understand what is resurrection. We take for granted resurrection today. You need to be careful. You don't know what is resurrection. I'm not saying resurrection doesn't exist. I'm saying believing in it, entering in the mystery of resurrection, is another thing. You see? So we need to be very humble. We are not better than Peter and John. Okay? So, what I'm trying to say now, summing up, is that following Jesus will reveal this second column, where the human part, the old skin, the old man, the old woman, the old creature, is playing a very nasty role, but it's there. We can't blame them. But this is a fact. When we start to follow Jesus, we are still the old creature. He doesn't change us like that. We would like to be changed like that. It would be much easier. No, because we take part in the journey of transformation. We take part in the journey of transformation. We play an important role into accepting our zero, that we can't follow him. You see? After having been very happy of discovering Jesus, active, etc., and then you continue to follow him and you discover that praying becomes even more difficult, uttering the word becomes more difficult. Where am I going? Am I losing what I got? You see? But you're still continuing, you're still faithful, you're still doing what you're supposed to do. I'm not saying you drop everything, but still you find that you can't cope. You need. Now all this will reach, I hope you remember, the famous abyss. And I really, really consider this is very important for us to be seen. What I call the abyss. Between 3 p.m. when Jesus dies and, let us say, 4 a.m. when he rises. 4 a.m. is my guess. It's not at all, you don't have to believe that it was 4 p.m. It's a way to say he rose early, very early. Because the text says before dawn, or almost at dawn. So, let us say 4. Okay, it's just a guess. I didn't have any revelation, and I wouldn't lean on it, even if I had it. Okay? So, what is now... they are sifted. We have elimination. At John 6, some of the disciples, some of the followers of Jesus stopped following him. Then, during the Passion, another group will stop following him. How many are following him at the cross? Very few. Men? Amongst 12, there's only one. He's not even big. He's a young man. John is young. So where are the men? They are not here. Peter said, I will defend you. I will kill. I will do. I will this. I will that. Where are you, Peter? I don't know him. I don't know this guy. Your accent betrays you. You are from the same place. No, I don't know this guy. Okay, so where are the people? Where are the followers? Only one. From the man's side, and from women, yes, women were more courageous. We have Magdalene, yeah, but it doesn't last. Magdalene, the other Maria, and of course Our Lady. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is that you feel numbers are sifted, you filtered. But we will then reach a point which is hardly mentioned by the authors, strangely, while it's very clear, which is, okay, till the cross they are with Mary, they are there. But now, from 3 p.m. to 4 a.m., we already addressed that for people who were here in the second lesson with Our Lady, I don't know if you remember. Who amongst the last ones to remain, John, Magdalene, and the others, with Mary, who will wait for him to rise?
Nobody.
Nobody. Magdalene? She thought he was a gardener. She wasn't waiting for a person who is alive. She was preparing the spices in order to bury him again, because he was buried in a hurry. So you understand that from 3 to 4, well, 3 Friday and 4 Sunday, they are preparing the spices in a hidden way, because Saturday you can't work, so you have to hide. The Sabbath you can't work, you can't do an effort in the Jewish understanding of Sabbath. Okay? So they spend all this time, instead of waiting for him, preparing for a dead person to bury him again. You are not waiting for the resurrection. I'm sorry. So you understand that here everybody is sifted. We are not Immaculate Conception. We reach a point with all the perfect resistance we can present of that old skin, but you will still reach a point it will break. Are you with me?
Yes.
Do you feel the mystery of the Immaculate Conception
Yes.
at this junction? Do you feel where it is reaching you, reaching me, reaching each one of us? There is a moment where we follow Jesus, and there is a moment where we experience that we are like Peter. I don't know him. I am weak. I thought I would give everything for Jesus, but when I am confronted to a serious problem, and it's not a matter of courage like him, no? He said, I'm a man, I will defend you, I have on my sword. The sword, when he was carrying the sword, because that was decoration to celebrate Easter. I don't think that they used to carry a sword. It's the festive dress at that moment. Okay? So I will defend you, and I will kill and do this. I don't know him. Are you following the thing? So do you see where the mystery of the Immaculate Conception appears? What I'm trying to say, and we will stop here to have a break. What I'm trying to say is that the old skin, the best old skin, John, Magdalene, resists till a certain point. But after that, they break. The wine, the new wine, they can't bear it. It's total. You reach a point where you can't. But there is one person who is still holding. Yeah, it's not written. You can guess it. It's not written, but you can guess it. But now you see the problem as a very useful issue. You see, it touches me to know that I will fail. I failed it, or I will fail again. But there is somebody who didn't fail, and this somebody is my mother. She can receive me in her heart, in her entrails, in her womb, in her. She can embrace me and carry me. My faith is weak. My faith is not Immaculate Conception. My capacity to believe and follow Jesus is not Immaculate Conception. I have a certain strength, but I need to experience the failure or the passage. Crossing, like you cross the rail when you are driving the car, then you have to stop because the train will pass. No? You cross the passage. No? So we have to cross from the human to the divine. Now let us see Peter after that
failure. Do you need to teach Peter humility?
No.
I think he cried all the tears of his body. How Peter would meet Mary after 4 a.m. How can he see her? How can he look at her eyes? What will he do? He failed. She waited. They were preparing for a death. She was waiting for the living. Do you see the problem here? Do you see the two worlds completely distant? Yes, indeed, Mary is Immaculate Conception. We see it. It's not a definition of a dogma. No. It's in the Gospel. And we need her. Because when the old skin will be broken completely, insisting that the old skin will be able to follow Jesus, and Jesus says to Peter, "No, Peter, where I am going, you cannot come. She will wait for me, but you cannot come." "No, I will come. Where are you going? I will kill, I will do." Peter, the God will and you will betray me 3 times. Jesus knows, sees everything. And still, Peter. You see? So there is a point where it breaks. If we are holding a weak rope, we have 2 groups playing, so 5 people from one side, from the others, and we have a very weak rope. If the tension on the rope is too high, there is a moment where it will break, and people from both sides will fall. You see? The old skin has a certain resistance. The old skin for the wine. You're not skin for the wine. It's like the bottle, if you want. The old skin has a certain resistance. The best of them, John and Magdalene. There is a point where you break. And when you break, what do you discover? You are not Immaculate Conception. It's through experience that we see that she had something that was different. She was already new skin from before passion. Even though she comes from him. Are you with me? That this is then this tricky part of it. But you see that she was a new skin, she was capable of waiting for him, she received him, and in fact, I dare say that he rose for her. She witnessed resurrections. All the others witnessed an apparition of the risen Lord. Do you see the difference between resurrection and apparition of the risen Lord? Do you see the difference? When he rises is when he rises, when the dead becomes alive, the dead body becomes alive. So this is resurrection. But when he appears, it's not a resurrection, it's an apparition. It's an apparition. I'm not interested in an apparition, I want a resurrection. And I deeply believe, but you don't have to believe at all with that, but I'm telling you, that I personally deeply believe that he rose for her. Because she was the only person on earth waiting for him. Indeed, seriously, truly waiting for him. She fought. From 3 p.m. to 4 a.m., she's fighting. Saying, no, I'm not, you will rise. Everybody says the opposite. John is completely shattered, you say? Shattered. Magdalene beyond shattered. They saw him dead. They buried him. I mean, do you feel the disaster?
Yes.
But she is there, saying, no, I will wait for him. I know he will rise. The notion of rising didn't enter in the old skin. Do you see? The total incompatibility. Total incompatibility between resurrection
and the old skin. Doesn't enter. When he said to them, after the transfiguration, what was more than the transfiguration? He said, please do not mention this, what you saw, before I rise. I said, rise? What does that mean, rise? It doesn't enter. It's like the soil. It's the first soil. You know the parable of the sower? Resurrection, it's not the third soil or the second soil. The notion of resurrection, we are all the first soil. It doesn't enter. So you understand that being Christian requires a lot of humility. Now we bang and think on resurrection, we are Christians, etc., baptized, blah, 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 blah. But remember, the forerunners, the first ones, the best ones amongst us, John Peter, gloriously failed. Gloriously failed. Didn't enter. We can't blame them, because this is a fact. This is how it is. This is how it is. We are not blaming them. We are just saying Jesus had to renew the old man in a new man. His passion is about changing Peter completely. From the old man who was following him. He could have preached for 30 years, Jesus. Peter wouldn't have changed. Do you understand why the passion is fundamental? He sowed the seeds of his words and his deeds. But still, it was an old skin. And he knew that he had to change us completely from the roots, the depth of our being, to change us in order to start to be Christian. So there is a story of 3 years, that can be 40 years if you want, of each one of us. There is a story where we will think we are following, and if we are really good and persevering, we will hit the wall, and discover that